Hey, good morning and good Yuletide cheer. So, this is one of the best, most magical times of the year for me and for a lot of others, I'm sure. And yeah, there's just something about it that's full of promise and hope and inspiration. And those are some of the themes that are like correspondences for our winter celebrations and our festivals and our festivities of Christmas, magic, and Festivus and Yuletide and the 12 days of Yule and the 12 days of Christmas. And yeah, there's a lot of qualities that these times and these days hold. There's a lot of energy and yeah, momentum in like the stillness and slowing down and gathering and reflecting on what's important to us and kind of reviewing the year and all that's been given and all that's been offered and shared and received. And it is a magical time to gather with family, with friends, and to be cozy with each other and to gather by the fireplace. And yeah, that's also a great symbol fireplace for focus and hearth and heart and all of that. All the fire is burning and the fire within, and the light that's found within, and the light that dispels the darkness, or the light that shines in the darkness, and the light that shines to help us find our way, that's warming, nourishing, comforting, life sustaining for us all. Just like the light of the sun, a symbol of the sun, the outer and the inner sun, and rekindling the flames and through this love, gratitude, appreciation, goodwill, and gestures of peace, hospitality, generosity, and togetherness, gathering, yeah, all of, all of, all of this. So, yeah, it's about peace and goodwill and sharing and thanking and blessing and praising and celebrating. So it is a time of, yeah, all of that bliss and magic and acknowledging, yeah, all that is and all that we've received and all that we've been able to work with and play with and build and grow. And then welcoming in like new cycles of prosperity and all sorts of new possibilities through that inspiration, through connecting and being here, being present, being the gift, sharing the gift, um, opening gifts, opening, softening, yeah, freeing the gift. And so, yeah, that's why I love wintertime too. Sometimes it's hard to get through sometimes because it seems like it'll never end. By the time like it's time for spring. I think a lot of us feel like really antsy because it seems like sometimes it's been gray and cold and the scenery outside hasn't changed a lot. Sometimes, and maybe we're going a little stir crazy or we have cabin fever or whatnot by the end of winter. But yeah, it's just kind of funny how if we surrender and we go within and make use of the time and the energy that we're given, like it's amazing what can happen in the springtime and how the shoots just like the green just comes up out of nowhere sometimes, and then all of a sudden we're in full spring blooms. But yeah, taking the time to rest and reflect and renew during winter can help us with that growth spurt in the spring, and tempering the wisdom, tempering the flame, tempering the fire within, attending to that fire, attending to the flame and the hearth and the home and the family during the winter. Yeah, assists us in like not burning ourselves out before like the real like growth like is manifested. But growth is always happening, and it's just, yeah, hard to see sometimes because at this time in winter time all the energy has gone down to the roots, and so that's where we get to return to is our own roots, and we get to do that in our own ways and reflect on what that means to you. And but yeah, roots and family and our connection to the earth. And so it is like an earth-centered time to return to that womb and that fertile darkness, and yeah, and find the light within, and praise and celebrate, yeah, all that is within, and all that, yeah, has been given and manifested and shared and received and created. Um, yeah. So I was going to offer a few things. I had some really great times last year looking into more about like Yule and the 12 days of Yule, and I was so pleasantly surprised by some of the traditions, and I really enjoyed it. And especially what are called the 9 noble virtues, and that has to do with like community and how each person and each part of the community is needed, because the community really depends on each other during like barren times too, and in times of abundance, like it's, yeah, and in times of like stagnation, and yeah, through it all, through the whole year. And yeah, I'll go over some of those virtues and like the qualities and the the 12 days, and each one has a virtue that they focus on. And there's also, yeah, it's the mini wheel of the year. Each day reflects a month within the year, within the wheel of the year. So it was really freaking fascinating to see it like on a macro and a micro levels, and just how like really awesome it is. And so yeah, there's a lot to winter, winter energy. And it is, yeah, sometimes it is a hard time because it's, you know, it's really cold, and some of the conditions sometimes are pretty harsh and feel inhospitable. But that's when we get to shine, you know, our lights and offer our own hospitality to ourselves and to others and to all that we love. And yeah, and that just comes with like gratitude, goodwill, and that inner peace and that joy and that feeling of comfort and coziness that we have within us, that we're able to create within our homes. And yeah, we're our own home too for our whole self. And then there's the outer home that we get to create. And yeah, we get to decide what we invite into our homes as well, and into ourselves. So that's can be deep if you want it to be, because it is to me. So I just wanted to start with something that I wrote down last year about winter energies, and just a few quotes and things, and then we'll go from there. So, winter energy: slow down, take a pause, open, soften, breathe. Listen, receptivity. Silence, cozy sharing. Friends, love, family. Community, dwelling deeply. Giving, offering, receiving, being. Honoring the exchange. Belonging, authentic community. Nesting, resting, reflecting. Renewing, restoring, resurrecting. Showing up, presence, acceptance, celebration, goodwill, compassion, and allowance. Letting go, clearing space, making room for the new to come through, for the new to come through. Emerge, converge, and be birthed forth and through. New beginnings, farewells, and endings. Participation, stories, songs, visions, dreams, desires, goals. So yeah, it's a time for all of those things, and to gather and to tell stories and to sing songs and to receive visions and dreams, and to look at desires and goals and hope and inspiration. It's time for medicine, an opportunity to go within deeper or more deeply. It's time for alchemy, blessings, transformation, sleep, death, and transition. Planting, dreaming, and seeding. Reviewing and releasing. Renewing and receiving. Gratitude, willingness, forgiveness. If at each moment we understand that death could present itself then each moment becomes an opportunity to celebrate the wonder of being alive. When each moment is treated as perfect and whole, then we understand that death is not in front of us or even behind us, but in and of us at all times. A constant reminder of the evanescent nature of life, each passing moment prepares us for our own death, for each moment can be seen as a complete cycle, the birth and death of an instant. And that is from that In the House of the Moon. I believe I took that those little snippets. I don't know if it's verbatim, but I just kind of adapted it from something that I read in the House of the Moon. And there's also like a great winter section in here that talks about the qualities of winter and everything. And yeah, there was a lot of beautiful little nuggets about death in there. So maybe I'll share that at another time during this winter. But yeah, for now, we'll just continue with this board here. So, there is no beyond. There is only here. The infinitely small, infinitely great, and utterly demanding present. Iris Murdoch. So, the essential nature of life is change. Renew what you are for what you could become. All the power that is, ever will be, and shall be is right here in this moment. Without the capacity to change, life could not exist. So let's give ourselves permission to grow, to learn, to change, to express, to create, and to be the love we are. That's the gift. The gift we are is to be and become and be all that we are. Yeah. Share that love, share all that we love, share all the love that we are through all that we are. So, winter energies and winter correspondences. There are so many fun things about winter and all the winter holidays, and I love symbols, and yeah, just love all of this. I'm looking into things beyond the surface of appearance of things. Sometimes we don't even realize, like what this well-known symbol, the ornament and the stocking, like what that even comes from or where it originates and things. We just kind of think, oh, okay, it's a little sock to put candy in or little gifts and stuff, which, yeah, it is, it can be, but like, where did it come from and why is it a traditional thing? I love to look at those things and love to see the origins of things and where we adapted or adopted certain things. So, because it's so fun, and it really, it's my curiosity and it's my thirst to know about things, or because I feel something deeper about them, or there's some kind of memory that I have, or I'm just drawn to it and I just wonder, so I just investigate, and or there's some part of me that knows like what the symbol is, but symbols are so loaded, like they're a living language, and that's what we are. We're a living language. We're the life and the word and all of that, and that's how we create, is through that word and through the power of our imaginations and our creativity and our receptivity and participation and the visions that we have and that we send out into the world. So it's so cool, really, how it all relates and how we create and how we co-create, and dream this dream that we're dreaming. Dreaming ourselves into being, and being dreamed through our being at one with ourselves, being true to ourselves, being all of ourselves, being our full selves. And we'll get to realize that in our own ways. So one of the great symbols too that I love is the star. I've always loved the star, like these tattoos on my shoulders and that go all the way around my back. That was just some of the first tattoos that I started. My sun on my chest was my first one ever that I got, because the sun was always spoken to me just in a lot of ways, and I didn't realize like the depth and profoundness of it until, yeah, about 10 years ago or so, when I realized like the like a deeper, true significance of it. But yeah, the sun's always been a symbol of warmth and regeneration and generosity, and the sun shares its light with the world, and it's never diminished by that sharing or through that sharing. And there's always enough for everyone, and it doesn't discriminate on who it shines its light on. It gives it and shares it with everyone, for all, for our growth. And yeah, there's positive qualities associated with it, and there's also the negative qualities or destructive qualities sometimes associated with the sun. And yeah, just learning how to master that energy, or to know that it's part of the whole, part of the same thing. And yeah, all those things, and growth and death and life, death, life. And so yeah, gets to be respected too, that light of the sun. Yeah, the light of the one, the light of the inner sun that can come forth and through for us to shine. And yeah, the sun that rises and falls and is born every day, again and again, through continuity, through those cycles. And yeah, so it's like night and day, and dark and light, and they couldn't exist without each other. And so if we didn't have that change, and we didn't have like death, then we couldn't have the rebirth and the resurrection, you know. So there's all of that. And the sun is like a perfect symbol as well for the wheel, and the wheel is huge for continuity and for the cycles, and that contain, yeah, all of that. And it's never-ending cycles within cycles, and there's so much to the wheel, and there's infinite meanings to the wheel, and thousands and thousands of definitions or descriptions for that. I mean, it's inexhaustible. That's what it is. Inexhaustible symbol that holds all. So yeah, the circle, the wheel, the star, the sun, and the self, and the web of life. And so I just have a couple symbols here I want to share with you. I found this at a craft store, and I really liked it. I found it around Halloween, and I got a few of them for some gifts, and they have little bells on them, and it just reminds me of like a little web, and then just got the feather with the symbol, and there's the dark that holds the light. And yeah, it's just really cute little thing, stuff that I like, and so that's what I got to share. I think it was last year that I gave some of these away, yeah, at a circle that I held at my place. And then this is a little piece of art that I made for fun for me. I painted it with marbling paint, and then I decided, hey, I want to do like something fun on there. And so I didn't know what it was gonna be, but this is what it turned out to be: a little blingy star with the spiral in the middle and the center. So that's one of my favorites, even though, I mean, it's so simple, but it was so fun to do, and I love the sparkliness, and of course, like the star and the spiral. And has always been some of my favorites, and just, yeah, they meant something deep to me. So, and it's just like very, yeah, satisfying just to create something so simple, but it just means so much, to me. And then there's another symbolic, circle, mandala, wheel, with a lot contained within it. Yeah. It's like a Tibetan Buddhist mandala. Yeah. All sorts of things. So the wheel of the year. So the wheel of the year, yeah. what can we say about that? What wants to be said? Yes, so it's the tradition, in certain traditions, and in like the Druid system and the or the Celtic system, the eightfold uh, wheel of the year. There's 8 holidays, 8 Sabbaths, and that correspond to different times and different points of the year where there's different energy surges and things are changing and moving. And yeah, what we have coming up next is the winter solstice, and that is, yes, means like the sun stands still, and that is when we have our longest night and our shortest day, and that's actually, yeah, the time where we experience like the longest darkness and, yeah, the shortest amount of light. And so, yeah, obviously, like, it's the time for rest and regeneration during those times when we don't have a lot of external light, and it's a time to go within, and it's a time, yeah, to be, to stand still and to observe. And yeah, it's a time of like the death of the sun, really, too, the death, and yeah, symbolically. And yeah, just, it's a really interesting time. And then there's 3 days. There's 3 days where, yeah, there are like the longest nights and the shortest days. But then after that little period, that little cycle, then the days start to become longer and longer, and the nights become shorter. So winter solstice. Yeah, winter solstice usually comes around December 21st. And sometimes it starts like a day or two, like take a day, or two. But yeah, Yule does start. The 12 days of Yule starts on the 20th, on December 20th, in the evening. So tomorrow is our first day of Yule, the first day of Yule, and that corresponds to Mother's Night. They call that Mother's Night, and because that relates and corresponds to the mother of the home, the mother that prepares the home, the mother that cleanses and purifies, and she does her own little rituals to prepare for the family to come and celebrate and to gather and to be nourished and all of that. And yeah, I was like, read a couple of few things that I have written here on this board where I wrote out like this, like little different themes about it, and about each day of the 12 days of Yule, and yeah, some of those things there, and just some things that I really found interesting, and I'll just share them with you. And I also looked at my old journal from last year, or while I was like writing some of this stuff down and like really having fun, like learning like certain things that I hadn't like been aware of like before then. I was just loving diving into all of the newness because it really spoke to me, and it was just like such a fun thing. Like, oh my gosh, something that I get to focus on, that I can choose to focus on, rather, because I moved away from like all the materialism of like Christmas and stuff, because I really kind of resented that in a lot of ways, where it would make me feel like a Scrooge, like a bah humbug. I don't want to buy any gifts because it's like, I don't like the planned obsolescence and them selling us junk that we don't need and blah blah. So it made me feel like a little bit miserly sometimes, like when it came to like what are people expecting, and like yeah, that kind of a thing, like for a couple years. But I changed my mind a couple years ago when I was like, wait, what does this time really mean to me? I don't have to go along with those programs, but like, yeah, what can I do with this time that's been given, and what's the gifts being given here? And like, what can I focus on, like, so I can be of good cheer and I can feel the spirit of Christmas, like the true spirit and the true meaning of this time, and like of giving and sharing and receiving, because I love all that, instead of like feeling like, we're doing it wrong and this is fucked up and all that. So it's just kind of funny, like just choosing to have a different focus, and what does it mean to me, and what what do I get to share and offer and receive during this time? So I got to choose that for me, and it's, yeah, and that just turned everything around. And how, yeah. So spinning on the wheel, and yeah, enjoying like all like all of these things, like all of these things that resonate with me and resonate with the truth within me. So yeah, it's pretty enjoyable to celebrate and acknowledge and honor like what we are being given and what we can create like through these cycles of growth and creative energy at play. So the 12 days of Yule. The festivals are observed from sunset to sunset for a fertile and peaceful season. The first 3 days, the 20th through the 22nd, focus on the Virgin or Maiden Goddess. And the Virgin or Maiden Goddess is honored as a guide for moving forward into the new year or the cycle, the new cycle, aligned with the highest good on each one's path. So maybe, yeah, that could be a good focus. It's like for the first 3 days of on the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd, what the Virgin really does symbolize. It's deeper than what we might think or what we might believe about that word, because that word and that description, we kind of like have like certain associations or certain ideas or certain concepts about what that really means or what that really is trying to convey to us. So I would encourage your own looking or searching or seeking if you're curious and you're open to new ways of seeing or new perspectives on the symbology or the symbolism of the Virgin and the Maiden. Yeah. Some of it's obvious and some of it's not. So we'll just leave it at that. And so, yeah, moving forward, honoring them as a guide for moving forward into the new cycle aligned with our highest good on our own paths. And December 20th is Mother's Night, the first night of Yule, focusing on clearing and decorating the home or decorating the tree and illuminating and like on the light, and preparing the hearth fires, the home, welcoming in the grandmothers and the goddesses and the ancestors. And the celebrations center around the wife or the mother of the home as she prepares the home for festivities. The home is lit by candlelight, or then there's like the Yule wreath, which also has candles. And the wreath is another symbol of the circle and of like living evergreen, like made out of evergreen like life, like the light of the earth. So the home, let's see, and the wreath with the 4 candles, and there are different traditions where they use different numbers of candles and things, but yeah, this is just one tradition. A Yule log is burned for 12 hours, or it usually has about 13 candles, and the Yule tree is decorated with sun wheels. Work is done with care and pride and gratitude. Yeah. So the second 3 days are split up into the 23rd, the 24th to the 25th, and the Mother Goddess is honored for fertility in all coming endeavors, all projects that we're going to work on within the next cycle. And so, like, we can call on her and we can thank her for her fertility and her assistance and her love and care and her part to, like, in all that she shares with us, and making all of this possible through all these creative possibilities. And yeah, and the focus is on friendship and kinship and family and peace and community and relationships and our connections. Love, compassion, hospitality, generosity, self-discipline, healing and well-being, magic, and shamanism, shamanic correspondences. So, let's see. Yeah, the third 3 days, the 26th, the 27th, the 28th, the rebirth of the god. So like the sun god, and the light. And yeah, there is like a correspondence between mother and child there too as well. So rebirth of the God, honoring spiritual guidance that we're receiving and that we have access to, and that we ask for, and that we open to. Life and light through the physical. Responsibility, protection, grace, resurrection, renewal, integrity, fidelity, truth, and honor. And then the fourth 3 days, the 29th, 30th, and the 31st. The old crone goddess is honored for wisdom and cosmic lessons of life and spirit. Some of the qualities: yielding, warmth, growth, light, health, prosperity, luck, greetings, salutations, praises. And then some of the values and the virtues: justice, accountability, self-reliance, sovereignty, gratitude, devotion, sacrifice to make sacred. And the waning year gives way and yields to the new year. So one year ends and the next year begins. So life can continue and begin again. And so, yeah, I just thought, like, wow, I really like that. And yeah, then there's the 31st, which is also like what we know as New Year's Eve, and they call it 12th night, and that's when they have their big celebrations. And this is where we have like where some of our New Year's traditions come from, our New Year's Eve celebrations come from, and I think it's just pretty freaking awesome and fun. So I really appreciated learning about a little more about this. So yeah, I'll share a little bit about 12th night, and it's about lessons, opportunities, growth, and we pause to honor the gifts and relationships and potentials, the endings and the new beginnings. And this is also called Oath Night. So you're taking your oaths and everything. And it's sacred to all divine friends. There's a great feasting. There's a vigil held from dusk until dawn to acknowledge the passing of the hunt, to honor the rising sun of the new year. There's what they call wassailing. So they have that traditional beverage, Wassail. And that's pretty interesting. Wassail means to be well, or it means to your health. And it's like toasting. It's like a night that everyone toasts each other and like wishes everyone well, and also like praises them for the part that they've played in their lives. And yeah, just toasting and libations and invocations and blessings and taking oaths. The rising, salutations, greetings, praises. Words are said to bear more weight and power during this night. So yeah, let's watch our words and like what we're creating to bringing into the new. Yeah. Gratitude and praise, blessings, offerings. Count your blessings, review and reflect, assess, redirect, set a course for the new cycle and the new year. So Wassail or Hail or Hilsa is Old German, Old Norse, and Old English. It relates to wealth, health, fortune, luck, and prosperity. Hail means to your health, or health. So the Norse and Germanic Yule traditions observe since 2400 BC the eternal wheel, the sun, and the name of Odin. Yuletide is a time of celebration, intimacy, kinship, belonging, sharing, and hospitality. Practitioners hold the belief that the gods and goddesses, the spirits of the earth, the ancestors, and all of our kith and kin join us in our celebrations. And so it's a great time to connect and to be, thankful, and to invite them and appreciate the part that they've played in our lives, in our journey, and in, who we are. Practitioners hold the belief, that all of the gods and goddesses, the spirits of the earth, the ancestors, and all of our kith and kin are present, during these celebrations. So altars traditionally face north, decorated with holly, pine, mistletoe, oak, a chalice of mead, wine, or cider, a Yule log, up to 13 candles. Traditional colors for the candles and the decor are green, white, red, and gold. Traditional incense is juniper, pine, bay, and rosemary. And Odin, in his aspect of death and transition, is honored. Freyr, in his aspect of the new year and of growth and promise, celebrating a good Yggdrasil, the world tree, the tree of immortal life. And so, yeah, the tree is a big thing. The tree is a huge symbol of the season. And the evergreens and, yeah, the different plants, allies, and teachers that we have, they show us about different cycles of this growth. And, yeah, they have their own mythologies and things. And it's pretty interesting to look at in those ways. Yeah, symbolic, like the mistletoe. We know of, it's like we kiss under the mistletoe, but what is that really about? And yeah, and everything. And it is a union, and it is love, yeah. And it is, yeah, that balance in the two that come together as one. But it also is like a symbol of regeneration and the promise of new life and hope. And yeah, I would encourage like deep looking at that symbolism as well. How the mistletoe grows, it grows like on and from a tree, and it nourishes itself from that tree. And so some see it as a parasite, but like, yeah, there's deeper than that. It's a little deeper than that. So yeah, if you feel led, look into that symbolism, and also the symbolism of the Green Man and Pan, and yeah, the Holly King and the Oak King, and that mythology. And yeah, it has to do with like the light returning, and yeah, and those cycles until we get to summer solstice, where the summer solstice is the longest day and the shortest night. And then, yeah, then the days start getting shorter and the nights get longer. And so it's just like all continuity. And so it's pretty interesting, like how all that plays out and how all that is. But yeah, I wanted to share a little bit about like some of our traditions that we may not be aware of, or that we are, but like it's just so cool to me and fun. And like that's part of that is like have to do with the stockings hung by the fireplace, and the little red ornaments that we see, like that are kind of traditional to us, excuse me, on the green ever trees or on the pine trees. And some of those traditions, Santa and his reindeer, yeah, kind of stem from different places where they experienced some really harsh winters, and they lived in yurts, and the snowfall would be so deep that sometimes they would just need to go into the top of the yurt to enter into it, like because everything else was blocked off. And so like that's where coming down the chimney comes in, like coming down into the top of the yurt. Well, they had shamans that were women and men dressed in red robes with white trim that would come and visit, and they had a big sack of gifts to share with the community. And what this was about, what this symbolized, was the relationship between a certain mushroom and the pine trees. And it was like the Amanita muscaria, or the fly agaric mushroom, which is a hallucinogenic or psychedelic plant and mushroom. And they would gather them. The shamans would go out and pick them and gather them, and would lay them in the boughs of a pine tree so that they could start drying, or they could collect them, and before they brought them to all the people that were under their care and under, kind of, in their community. So, yeah, they would have a big sack full of mushrooms, and they would deliver them around like this certain time in the winter. And yeah, there's a relationship that mushroom has with the reindeer, which is pretty cool as well, where some of the like Siberians, where this tradition came from in Siberia, like the reindeer was one of their deities, because the reindeer gave them everything that they needed and was seen as like a symbol of the Great Mother, because she provided everything that they needed. And as far as like milk and fur and like glue and food and um, transportation and company and warmth and all of that. And the reindeer was seen as the one who brought the sun back in her antlers. And the female reindeers are the only ones that hold their antlers in the wintertime. The male antlers shed them. And so when we look at Santa and his reindeers, they're actually all female. They're not all male, you know. So that's kind of an interesting thing. But the mother reindeer was seen as the one that brings back the sun in her antlers, and and life, and continuity and all of that. And so I think that's pretty cool. And if you want to look deeper into that, go follow that. And I just love the reindeer and the symbolism of that, magic of generosity, and her generosity, sharing all that she is, so that all can live. And there's a kind of interesting thing about the relationship that the reindeer have with this little mushroom that is red and with white dots. And we see that in different shows too, and different art, and don't really realize what it is. Like it's shown in Alice in Wonderland as well. But one day, a long time ago, it said that the reindeers, had this relationship with this mushroom. They would eat this mushroom, and just people observing them would see that after a while it seemed to affect them in a strange way, where they would seem to take flight and have lots and lots of energy, and just go into some altered state and whatnot. And also as well, the reindeer would urinate in the snow, and they would eat the urine, and then they would get even more altered. And so people were watching this thinking, there must be something to this. And so they tried it, and really it's pretty awesome actually, like how they would like use this tradition. And they've learned a lot of things by watching nature, taking a page from nature, like seeing how nature does it, and like watching the animals and the qualities of the animals, and what the patterns of that they could really show and like teach us and all of that. And so that's how they learned about like the magic of these mushrooms and things. And so they would go on these little magical journeys during this time. And so the shaman would bring the mushrooms to his community. And then what people would do, they would hang them in their socks by the fireplace to further to cure them, like to dry them out, because if they're eaten raw, then they could kill you. But they need to be prepared in a certain way and dried and everything. And so like that's where the tradition of the stockings hung by the fire comes from, and that's pretty cool too. And so there's all sorts of mythology around the reindeer, and like the spirit of Christmas and Father Christmas, and just and it stems from like those shamanic healers, and like those gifts that they gave and they brought and they shared, and the community shared together to envision and journey and like receive and open to gifts that were being given during this time. And so that's pretty cool. I like that. That's my story, and that's my rhyme. So what else can I say about winter? Fun stuff, like it's so loaded with symbols. Like just the top of my head, of course, there's the light, the Christmas lights. Everybody loves the magic of the light, especially when there is more darkness and all that. And just remembering like to look up and see the stars, and what the stars hold for us, and what they herald and bring, good tidings of hope, inspiration, and change. And the star, like archetype, the star of the tarot, she's hope and inspiration and imagination. And the earth, like earthly life, and knowing that we're connected. Yeah. And it's loaded like with so much symbolism. And I feel like I'll just share just a little bit from this tarot book, the Mystical Tarot. And just 'cause I feel like that's what wants to be shared. So, the star is another card of balance and harmony, the kind that comes after a storm, a violent eruption, or a major change. All things represented by the tower, the card that precedes the star. Yeah, the tower is number 16, and number 17 is the star. So 16 is the collapse of everything, or just like seems like disaster. But like there is new life after, like, yeah, the fall. And so it's hope, inspiration, and regeneration. The star is a card of calm and peacefulness, hope and joy, comforts and pleasure. Things feel good. There is order in nature once again. I'll show it to you one more time. We can rest and reflect and turn our gaze to the heavens. The star will guide us to our destination when we are ready to begin journeying again. The star will illuminate the path for us. It will also protect us under the night sky. When we look up to the starlit heavens, we are left with a sense of awe and wonder. For a moment, we feel small in relation to the grand scheme of the cosmos. At the same time, we feel a part of this master plan. We recognize that all things have their purpose, all things their place. On the earthly plane, we are like the stars above. We light the path for our own lives, for others. The star's light is a soft light, not a blinding flash like the lightning that strikes the tower. We want to look at it, not away from it. Although liberating, the lightning terrifies us. In contrast, the star, which represents the light from the heavens, warms our soul and our inner self the way the sun warms our bodies. It nourishes our minds and helps us think of the infinite possibilities like the countless stars above that life offers us. It is a card of inspiration. The star is another card of personal reflection, meditation, and contemplation. It's a reminder to turn our gaze inward and be guided by an inner light, to trust ourselves and our intuitions. We've come so far, learned so much. At last we are becoming enlightened. The card also tells us to be at peace with ourselves, to be true to ourselves, and bring love into our lives. The card encourages us to feel good about ourselves. On a spiritual level, the star is our link to the higher plane. It tells us to open our minds and let the light shine in, to grow in spirit awareness and knowledge, and to apply all we learn in pursuit of even higher knowledge. And then the star, here's another piece about it. The star is our link to higher knowledge and enlightenment. Its light pierces deep into our unconsciousness, illuminating the hidden truths that we seek in our journey through life. Thus, when we meditate on the symbolism expressed by the card, we are merging our minds with the universe as a whole, opening ourselves to an infinite number of possible experiences and new directions. The star also symbolizes the world of our imagination, the world of the unseen that we can only experience by looking deep inside ourselves. Meditating on the star has the same effect as looking upwards to the night sky and being dazzled by the light of the heavens. We know there is so much more than we can see. What we can't see, we imagine. In my meditations with the card, I use the light from the star to guide me in new directions. I allow it to bring me in touch with the unknown thoughts that reside deep inside. I close my eyes and let the light from the star flood through me and illuminate the darkest regions of my mind. I say to myself, I am ready to learn, to explore the unknown. Please take me where I have never been. I am open. I am ready. Often I feel myself transported out of my body, floating in the heavens far above the earth. When I look down, I see the earth as I've never seen it. New paths appear before me, and I see new opportunities for growth. I also feel I'm a little closer to understanding the cosmic order and the reason for all things. It's an experience that leaves me inspired. And there is one more little thing that I have in this big, huge science, symbols, and source book that I wanted to share about the star. And then, yeah, the number 17 is also a pretty big theme. Well, dang it, I can't seem to find it right now, but that's okay. It'll be another time then. But here's this little thing about the star. The star is universally accepted as a symbol and a part of our everyday language. To call someone a star is a great compliment. Our ancestors believed that each star had its own spirit, maybe that of the deity, an unborn soul, or the soul of a dead person that had a particularly notable life, an idea that is completely in accord with our own use of the word to denote fame. However, there are always positive connotations surrounding the word. The light of a star is only visible in juxtaposition to the darkness surrounding it. The appearance of a particularly unusual star in the sky heralds an important or auspicious event. For example, the 3 wise men who know of an ancient prophecy recorded in the book of Numbers, book in the Old Testament, that there shall come a star out of Jacob. However, it was not only the birth of Christ that was heralded by a star. The Buddha shared this privilege, as did the fire god Agni from the Hindu pantheon. In terms of astronomical significance, the pole star provides a reliable aid to navigation, and its unmoving position, static at the center of the great wheel of the heavens, makes it a symbol of the world axis. This star is also for many a reminder of the constancy of God. The Yakut tribes of Siberia believed the stars were the windows of the universe, alternately opened and closed to ventilate the spheres of heaven. It's easy to imagine a black sky full of windows through which shines the powerful illuminating light of heaven. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different star symbols. The number of points in the star is an important part of the design. The 8-pointed star might represent the idea of eternity and regeneration in accordance with the number 8. The 9-pointed star might be a reminder of the 9 muses, the 9 worlds of Norse myth, or other aspects of the number 9. The pentagram, the hexagram, and the elven star, or septagram, are explored under their own entries. So there's so much to the star. Yeah. And which reminds me too of the pole star, of the North Star. Yeah, and that's what the winter solstice, like traditionally it was called Alban Arthur, or that represents the North Star, the pole star, and that is like the constellation of the Great Bear. And so yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. And so let me just share a couple more things about Yule, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy and have some fun, like creating your own Yule celebrations, or find out a little bit more about it, and whatever resonates or whatever calls to you, like, yeah, go with that and follow that, and see where that leads. And so the 9 noble virtues that we're focused on during this time of Yuletide was courage, self-discipline, fidelity, honor, hospitality, industriousness, perseverance, self-reliance, and truth. So exercise the personal will that upholds honor and all virtues, that translates impulse into action. Honor your community, relationships, friendships, life, love, resources, loved ones, and self. So the 9 noble virtues, belonging, responsibility, sacrifice, humility, and accountability. And here's a little poem. My name is not my own. It is borrowed from my ancestors. I must return it unstained. My honor is not my own. It is on loan from my descendants. I must give it to them unbroken. Our blood is not our own. It is a gift to generations yet unborn. We should carry it with responsibility. And this is just how, like, with that kind of close-knit community where they needed to be close, they needed each other or they wouldn't survive. So, like, it's just to help remind them of that responsibility that they had to each other and to life, and to from where they came from, and to what would come from them, So I like that. And it's like just that responsibility that they had for each other, and they knew everybody was needed and everybody had different gifts that we're needed. And so we all are needed here, and we all have gifts, and our love is so needed here. So yeah, we're all needed. We're all needed to show up and to offer and just to be and just, yeah, to be in community and to belong and to dwell deeply and to participate and to contribute to the service of the whole, contribute, yeah, what we have to give, and also like be open to receiving all the gifts that are being offered through that whole, like, yeah, forgiving. And celebrate the beauty of cultivating strength and wisdom through experience. It's essential to thank, bless, and release the internal struggle that we worked through during darkness, through our own growth. We rest and we welcome the gifts of strength, courage, faith, responsibility, that we may use this wisdom that we've learned and gained through our hardships and challenges, honoring the union, our interrelationship of all things, the light and the dark in harmony, celebrating the new light being born through the fertile darkness, and all the new life, love, and possibilities that are given, shared, and received. Yeah. And that's, yeah, a lot of what, like, Yule can help us remember a lot of those things. And maybe I'll do another video about, like, the 12 days of Yule and go a little more into, like, each day. We did go into, like, the days that are, like, a series of 4 groups split into 3 days each. But yeah, there's so much more to it as well. And it's like just so super rich and so full of just amazing things, like to help us really like focus and like bring it all in and integrate all of that, integrate all that we've learned and everything that we've been through and that we've come through and that we've overcome. Yeah, all of that good stuff. And just some quick little fun thing. We'll see what comes up. And this is my journal from last year. We'll see what we do. Okay. Oh, so I opened it to December 23rd. And I just wrote the 3rd day of Yule until sunset tonight. 3rd day is Mani, the moon, darkness and illumination, courage, strength, and faith. The journey of the underworld, the return of the light birth through the darkness of the night, through the darkest belly or underbelly, that's right. Illumination, contemplating, union, clarity, Sophia and Baphomet, Christ, love, the whore, the virgin, her power, her might, light, Inanna, Ishtar, truth, Persephone, Mary, Magdalene, Isis, Mother Mary, sunlight. The great mother, the mother's love, the reflection, the moon, the tides, the cycles of the wheel and time, the matrix, Maya, and illusion, separation of the mind, awakening to all thine, liberation, integration, individuation, the fool's journey, all that I am, all love I have is mine and thine. Well, that was fun. Loving these reflections on the 12 days of Yuletide Christmas, Christ Mass, death and renewal, rebirth through the darkness, homecoming, Christ consciousness, Christ love, universal love and belonging, compassion and devotion, unconditional love, the self is one love is thyself, all is one, love, God, self, all, in so many beautiful